Good afternoon. It is October 11th, 2022, and you can see we just had a range day today. And it looks like prices are pretty much hanging out at today's opening price. So let's get into it. No need to waste time. You can see we made two legs down in the overnight, and prices just found support right here. And I think 5 o'clock comes in somewhere, I think like right around here. So if you are at your computer right there and you had the second entry long set up, I think you can take that. It is going into this level of resistance, but it looks pretty good. And if you look at it, we're due for a reversal. So you see we get this break, leg down, and it tries to go lower a few times, and then you actually get a reversal right here. And so we could be heading higher. I was looking at shorts. I was watching the MES, and I liked going short right here because I had a better signal bar on the MES, and it was a double test. So I like those entries if that's your style. With all that room back to the EMA, I like that. But this second entry looks good as well. And it comes on up here, and then it reverses about an hour before the open. First entry, failed second entry. And I'd be a little worried once you get these dojis, but I mean, I think it's a pretty solid entry. I think it probably bounces off of these dojis right here, that price level. Oh, okay, so it comes one tick short of that. But yeah, I look at that as a failure. And that starts a downtrend. So you wouldn't have had this channel drawn until you could have had it drawn on this swing low. Then we get the third touch here, and the midline just works perfectly. So first entry, second entry is not a good setup. First entry, second entry, and then here we get a double test, and it's off of the trend channel. So if you have this drawn, I think you can take this, but I'd be a little, it just looks like congestion. It looks like a range, and we came up short of the trend channel down here. So it's risky. It gets you a scalp though. Then we break out, and you might consider this one because that looks like a range right there, and that looks like a failed break higher and a second entry short. So you know what? I'm gonna mark that. But I mean, it could break out and do a breakout pullback. So you just got to be careful. I don't see anything I like in here. We get this after the break. We get this channel down to a new low, and then we're due for a reversal again because we got two legs down. I don't see anything in here I like. This failure is just too far from the EMA for my liking. First entry, second entry, but I'd probably be waiting on the failure, and that just doesn't set up well. Not sure why. Okay, so I marked this because you could look at that as a second entry and a lower high, but it looks congestive at that point with all those bars stacked up. Doji, even this one, you got stem on both sides, so it's too risky, I think. Come up here, and this is another one of those lower high entries. It's just so far from the EMA that you might risk that. And it does set up pretty well. Second entry short right there, but I don't think I'd be looking for anything really. This just looks like a range. And some people must have liked this lower high. Then it bounces here. And this turns out to be a trend channel. You make this big move up, and you get a first double test. You might take that. It's aggressive, not a lot of room to the highs, but you might take that. Come up here, you get a second entry long, but my signal bar is not good. I think I would want to take that if my signal bar was good. But look, it looks like one leg of correction, and you can see we get a second leg, and then it's just going sideways. So this is definitely some sort of range here. But then we get this second entry long, confirming that trend channel. Well, actually, that's actually pretty advanced to be able to see that. You could have had it because of this midline. Let's see. So this should be down a little further, like that. You could have this drawn, but I think this is kind of one that would be difficult for me anyway to see in real time. But that's the second entry off of that trend channel. Rockets up, and then you get a double test off of this price level. You can see that right there. So you might take that one. And that's like a range to first entry, second entry, first entry, failed second entry short. I like that with that good signal bar. And that makes a new double bottom. So first entry, technically this is a failure. So did it get you 4 ticks? I think it was a 4-tick failure. So 2150. Yeah, 2250. So what would have kept you out? Well, we got a doji here, dojis. This signal bar is a doji. So yeah, signal bars don't matter as much on failures, but be very aware of all these dojis. And this is a double bottom, so I mean, you got to be really trusting in that. I mean, this looks like the swing low to me. Even though this is a double bottom, it doesn't look like I should reset the count. It doesn't have that feel. I mean, look, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. But right after that, you get a second entry long. And with the EMA holding prices that much, it's also a double test. I think you got to take that. And if you were patient, maybe, because by this time, I probably wouldn't enter, because that you're going right into that midline too. That's something you got to consider. And you were going right into that midline here too. But anyway, it rockets up. You get an overshoot. That leads to a break. So here, I mean, personally, this looks pretty darn good. That lower high. I just like those entries. With that much room back to the EMA, I really do. And that being an overshoot. But if you're patient, you get a failure right there. That's still aggressive, though. It sets up on the wrong side of the EMA. But the overshoot leads to a break, and we get an overshoot of that channel. And so I'd be looking for a reversal, but you don't get that. But we come up here, and you get a... this looks like a two-legged pullback to me. Technically, it's a third entry, but looks like a two-legged pullback. And then you get a higher low right here. And I like that one, too. This one I might be a little nervous about because of these highs right here, but it looks good. And if you don't take that, you get this failure. You can see first entry, and it doesn't break higher here, so that's where the failure occurs. But it's congestive. I marked it blue. I should have marked it green because it looks, that doji makes me a little nervous, and this looks like a range. So I'll mark that green. And then it comes to the top of the trend channel again. And this looks like a failure to me right here. But you're going counter trend. But it had a range day feel, so I think that's okay, especially after the break and a couple legs up to a new high. But anyway, we're just chopping around. Fails out the low side. And then, we're just chopping around. This is very choppy. I don't like anything in here. You get this double test up here. Come down. And we're just flip-flopping on both sides of the EMA until we get this spike and channel down. And this is just too far from the EMA for me. But maybe you take, maybe it's one of those trends that you take good signal bars off the trend channel. But the problem is, this is another one of those channels that it's hard to see. until after the fact. First entry, second entry, poor signal bar. This looks like a channel down. So if that's a failure, maybe you consider that. So first entry failed, second entry. Maybe you consider this one. You're going into the lows. I think that's the problem. And you probably want to go on that engulfing bar. Overshoot leads to a break. And then you get a reversal. And this is just congested, so that's why I marked it green. And we're just chopping around. You get this double test down here with room back to the EMA. I like that. It's also a second entry long. And then you get this failed second entry short, but you're going into all that resistance, so it's aggressive. Second entry long, but this looks like too congested. And then that's really all I saw for the rest of the day. I don't like any of this. So that's how I saw it. Hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.